Now I feel complete, I thank this village for receiving me. Hey, it takes a village to build what we doing. When they found me all defeated, depleted and ruined, they rebuilt me from the ground like they salvaging ruins. I'm just grateful for my blessings, how God has been moving. Yeah, it takes a village to build what we doing. When they found me all defeated, depleted and ruined, they rebuilt me from the ground like they salvaging ruins. I'm just grateful for my blessings, how God has been moving. Yeah.
Think I figured out the formula to succeeding. Family dinner at the table, they make sure that I'm eating.
Yo.
Woo-hoo. Welcome
up?
to Foreplay episode.
Elmo, yes. Yo, so I'm just gonna share with everybody. So real quick, while everybody's joining in, so Ness got a new camera, which is dope, but the autofocus is a little slow. So I told her, like, anytime she's out of focus, I'm gonna say Elmo. But I didn't expect to do it so soon. But anyway.
Do I still look a little blurry?
No, you're a little out of focus, but it'll focus. Just put your face into the camera, like, hey y'all, and then back up.
Hey y'all. There we go. It wasn't like that before y'all got on. Look at me. Okay.
All right. So we got 10 viewers in the freaking house. So shout out to y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all so very much. Shout outs to Facebook, shout outs to YouTube, and everybody from Instagram who's made their way and will be making their way over here. We appreciate y'all truly.
Most definitely. So season 2, if you've seen the post, is a little bit different today. It's very, very special. It's a special edition, Gourmet Foreplay, right? So we got some parents on the line today. Y'all gonna get to meet them a little later, so make sure you stay tuned and you stay on and you stay ready to meet them. They're gonna talk about everything that they've done parenting through the pandemic and exactly how they feel doing it, because it must be stressful. I don't know about you, Maine, but every parent I know has been talking about it, especially young kids, man.
I'm about to say, you work with youth and you work with a lot of youth who are parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure it's been ridiculous and a challenge for everybody. And and the thing about it is that it's back to school season, back to school time. So I think we might be like a week or so into like back to school. And we know that different counties are doing different things and all that.
States are doing different things that we got to do it today.
Right.
So today's going to be a little different. We usually have appetizers. We usually have flash news, then entrees. We're scratching appetizers. We're going straight to flash news. And from flash news, we're just going to go straight to the entree. The entree is the parent panel. All right. So we're going to cheers to a good episode.
Cheers to a good episode. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So I got a personal bartender today. That's all.
This ain't right.
Cheers, man. I don't know where to start. What was that?
Let me make sure that everybody grab a drink before we get into your drink. This is your time to grab a drink before we tell you what's in our drink. So go grab
your cup.
Pull it up.
We got our panelists. We can see them, but y'all can't. They got their cups. We're hyped.
Yes, they are. So please, please, please pour it up. Come sit with us. Come laugh with us. Come talk with us. Come discuss everything with us. Come share your comments with us. Because we can see your comments at the bottom of the screen now for the world to see. So make sure you talk to us.
And we got a few in here. So Amelia Parveen says, hey, what's up, Amelia? We see you changed your name from Vila Girl.
Okay.
MET Princeton says, cheers. What's up? What's up? Cheers. Jade E. Banks is here with her drink.
Cheers. Cheers. All right. So what's in your cup? Because your cup look real nice and I'm kind of jealous.
I'm not going to hold you. So I went to, they didn't pay us. So they in the sponsor. So we're not going to shout out the orchard or whatever. But I went to apple picking today. And so this is an apple leaf. These are actually fresh apples from today. And then this is like, again, it's like another elevated version than what I had last week. So it's like a little amaretto, a little brandy, some other flavors. I didn't make this. And
what is that? Time out.
What you said?
You getting healthy in your drink? What kind of leaf is that?
One from the tree. And then got some like probably cinnamon or nutmeg around it, shaken up really nicely, poured over ice. And I'm not gonna hold y'all. This is the one for the show, but this is the one that I was drinking before it.
Oh, you lit. Okay, I gotta catch up. He ain't telling me all of that, y'all.
What you drinking? What's in your cup?
Same thing you got in your cup.
Stop lying. Yeah, you're hilarious.
All right, I got some. I gotta make it sound cute, right?
Yeah.
So here we have a beautiful glass from the Dollar Tree, $1. Real thick and sturdy. We got some fruity rum. I'm not gonna say the brand because y'all gonna know what it is. I'm not gonna say the flavor because y'all gonna know what it is then too. We ain't doing that. I got some fresh squeezed lemons made out of the roots of Jamaica. I got some
cut it out.
plain citrus. I got some pink dye added to the lemonade. Got pink lemonade on it. This is really a citrus fruity drink, very refreshing. Something you drink at the spa, you feel me? All right, so
got it.
You gotta do the at the beginning now. So
what we got to do?
Read all about it. Ready?
Oh, did you tell them? So real quick, this episode for everybody. So shout out to everybody else joining in. And for some reason, a lot of the Facebook people aren't aggregating to the system. But what I will say, shout out to Janice Wright, my mama. Shout out to Jamel Mosley. What's up? Shout out to Sean Wright for joining in. What's up? Sean Wright says, I love the new setup. Mo Jeff said, come through sturdy. Shout out to Jabel for watching and all of that. All right. For everybody tuning in real quick, today's going to be a specialty episode for those who just joined in. So we're going to have a very special parent panel at the end because we know that back to school just started. And we know that we're struggling with sending the choice of sending kids back to school or, continuing that virtual learning. Yeah. And today is going to be only what, right, Ness? We're only doing flash news and then our entree are the parent panel, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
So let's get right into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 3.
But it's a lag, so we're going to sound mad stupid, but let's go.
3, 2, 1, extra.
Read all about it.
All right, so first up on Flash News, what we got? Oh, my gosh. Oh. So for Flash News, first thing up, the country is looking kind of shaky in the Supreme Court.
It is, man. We had the amazing, beautiful, just kind-hearted Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was one of the first women and really prominent player when it comes to justice in general, who occupied a seat on the Supreme Court justice during the time where women weren't even allowed to, they weren't even allowed and given employment because of their gender. So she was like 1 in 6 or 1 in 7 in her graduating class. She was pretty much denied employment because of her gender. And back then, we're talking about her being sitting on that board from 1993, but she graduated school in a time where women were kind of put down. So long story short, unfortunately, she passed away. She was a lifetime activist for women's rights. As you can imagine, being a marginalized person in that time, right? It's so interesting to see what a marginalized community looks like, before the 50s and all of that versus what it is now. But She sat for fought for women's rights. She fought for equality. She fought for equal employment opportunities. She was a big proponent in pushing a lot of marginalized communities forward. And we love her. We're gonna miss her because now it's a little scary because now we're gonna be under extreme pressure to replace her. And what does that look like in a Trump administration? And then what would that look like in a Biden and Harris administration? So that's our flash news on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And if you don't know about her, go look her up. And it's interesting because Hulu actually released a whole like special on her. So if you didn't know anything about her, go watch it on Hulu.
So next up on the docket, we got the Emmys. So the Emmys just came, it just passed. And if you know about Emmys, it's not really the ball court for like Black actors and actresses to like completely succeed in, right? So for some reason, the only thing that was shocking to me about the Emmys is the fact that Eddie Murphy got his first Emmy this week.
That's really shocking, actually. Like Eddie Murphy?
He's one of my favorite comedians. Eddie Murphy got his first Emmy, which is nuts. Regina King took home an Emmy for best supporting actress in the lead actress in a limited film. But Zendaya out here set records, and ever since the Emmys,
Zendaya's only 24.
Yeah, she should be. She young. I know she was young.
Yeah.
But like when I seen that she won, and she's the youngest to win, but she's although she is the youngest Black actress to win a lead, she's only the second Black actress to win in that nominee department. Only person that won before that was Viola Davis for How to Get Away with Murder in 2015. So that was shocking to see too, but I'm very, very happy that Zendaya won because she had a dope speech. She said, I just want to say there is hope in the young people. We all know the future. Right? To all my peers out there doing work in the streets, I see you, I admire you, and I love you. And I just really love the fact that we talked about in sports last episode, how, you know, they're doing like the social justice thing, not thing, but you know what I'm talking about. But like now we're elevating it to every single field. And I do love that. And Regina King took home an Emmy, and she had on a Breonna Taylor shirt. And I just like, don't forget none of this. And I love that the Black Lives Matter movement is like really moving, and it's like it hasn't lost its momentum, and I just love and I appreciate that.
I agree. So real quick though, what was one of your favorite Eddie Murphy kind of movies? Like, what was your favorite?
All right, so I got two. I like. So one of them I just seen last year was Boomerang. I just feel like I've never seen Eddie Murphy that smooth before in my life. And that was because I'm used to him being a goofy.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
So Eddie Murphy in Boomerang and Nutty Professor. I got to give up to Nutty Professor. It's a very great inspiration for my combos with the Coles.
That's true. And Nutty Professor was a good one. Like, I feel like it's a classic. I don't think that could ever get like not funny or like boring or old.
My favorite line was Hercules.
Everybody, right?
And the reason why I love Boomerang is because he's smooth. I love the Nutty Professor because that was the first time I seen someone play so many actors. I know Martin Lawrence did it in the Martin Show, but like Eddie Murphy was like 7-8 characters in one movie, and I was just like, "Yo,
talented."
So I love it. What about you? You like Eddie Murphy? I know what movie you like from Eddie Murphy.
Which one is that?
Norbit.
Stop it! Not bringing up high school. Fresh Future. But yeah, Norbit was my movie in high school. But Coming to America is dope. Go ahead.
Coming to America. MVT Printing said Beverly Hills Cop 2. Amelia said Coming to America because sexual chocolate. Okay. All right. That's lit. Let me see who anybody else commented about that. All right, bet. All right. So next on the docket. Remember, we're gonna give it to y'all real fast and smooth because we got a dope discussion panel happening later. So one thing I seen you cracking up about was this show. So Jermaine watches a lot of talk shows. I don't really watch talk shows. He listens to talk shows, listens to podcasts. I just watch series and movies. So when Jermaine hit my phone up cracking up about this, I was just like, yo, wait, we got one more comment. So Dr. Doolittle.
Go ahead, take your time.
Dr. Doolittle.
Oh, Ness, how didn't you say that when you figured you're a good?
I'm tripping. All right, so I'm gonna name 4, right? Because Dr. Doolittle, the cat classic, Matt Parts. All right, so I got Boomerang, I got Nutty Professor, Dr. Doolittle. So if you know me, you know I talk to animals.
Oh God.
They don't talk back to me, man.
All right, go ahead. I'm not gonna do this today. Yeah. She's an animal whisperer. Yeah, they talk back to her in pure English.
Whatever, right? But I forgot about Daddy Daycare. Daddy Daycare was by far a very, very, very funny Eddie Murphy movie that we can never ever just go past. So those two. Joel also said Norbit. All right, what's up on you, man?
All right, now, so long story short, I really want y'all to see the clip, but all right, but long story short, I don't know if y'all watched The View, but there was a lot of drama on The View. So there's somebody named Kim Klacik, pretty much, who is, if y'all remember, she was on the Republican convention, pretty much, national convention, and she was the black woman. Her teeth look like they might be veneers, so if anyone's just needs a reminder. But anyway, so she was the person speaking on behalf of all black people, whatever the case is, at the Republican committee. And long story short, she was on The View just about 3 days ago, and they went off. So long story short, she's just going back and forward about how Trump is so for black people and all the things he's done for black people and how he cares about the American public and black, Americans, blah, 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 blah. Then after that, pretty much all hell breaks loose because Joy Behar, who she's the older person who's been on The View, has red hair. She's a comedian. Joy Behar was just like, yo, I gotta say something because you're not holding your president accountable, blah, 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 blah. So she goes, is this Joy? Taps the mic. Is this Joy? Is this Joy Behar? The same Joy who wore blackface and blah, blah, blah. Yo, she was like, so Joy went off. I wish I could show you the clip. Joy went off. Joy was like, what? Da, 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 da. Stop it. Excuse me. The black community had my back. So then Kim Klacik goes, the black community has my back too. Sunny Hostin, who is the most, she's so cool, calm, collective. She is a AKA or an NAKA. Okay. No, she is the most cool, calm, collective, poised woman. She snapped out of character. So imagine seeing all of these pictures or whatever the case is with faces, and she was just like, the black community supports you? The black community supports you? No one voted for you, honey. She was like, the black people community didn't vote for you. What took me out is she was so, I won't lie, it was immature, but it was hilarious. It was the chair spin for me. She was like, wow, what world do you live in? She did the chair spin. Hold on. She's like, wow, what world
I seen that.
Yo, I was crying. The shade was real, yo.
I'm not gonna hold you. You know who she reminded me of when she spent in the chair?
Who?
Me.
Wait, why she remind you of that?
Because you'd be like, I'm so dismissive. So I just
yo, Nessa is the most dismissive Gemini I've ever met. If y'all everybody thinks she's cute, cuddly, and sweet, Nessa is a whole dismissive insert word here. Amazing.
Oh, wow.
Relax.
That's crazy.
But long story short, real quick, I just want to show y'all Kim Klacik. She left the show and she had a tweet, and the tweet said this. Let's just go ahead and share this good old screen real quick because I thought the tweet was interesting. But if y'all were able to see the video, but just in interest of time tonight for all our amazing panelists, we want to be real, sure that would be a good. But all right, so her tweet said, and she went off. Her tweet said, the ladies of The View didn't like what I had to say, so naturally they cut me off. Why are they silencing black women? Hey, Joy Behar, I think your white privilege is showing through your black face. What? Yo, it was nuts, bananas. But that was the drama and the beef. I wish we could have showed you the clip, but we just want to be respectful of time and things like that because it was a pretty long clip. But moving on.
Tati mentioned The Vampire in Brooklyn. You right. That came out when I was younger for the Eddie Murphy movie. So I gotta rewatch. I just know it was a little scary, and he had fangs. I wasn't really.
It wasn't that scary. I rewatched it as an adult, and I was like, look at these stupid. I was like, look at these bad graphics, But
got you. All right. So next thing on the docket, we got 42 days left till Election Day.
Yo, there are 42 days left until Election Day, y'all. So today, I don't know if y'all know, but today is National Register to Vote Day. All right. National Register to Vote Day. If you have not registered to vote, I need you guys to go register to vote. It's a huge deal. We can't ask for change if we're not doing what we have to do to make change. If you are unhappy about the way the government is running right now, if you are unhappy about the death rate from coronavirus, or the death rate from Black Lives, or whatever it is that you support, whatever it is, on whatever side, just make sure you go out and vote and make sure that your voice is heard, because it's super duper important. A lot of times we complain, we act as if our vote does not count. Thank you, me speeding fast and 2 drinks. But us acting like, or realizing that, or thinking that our vote doesn't count. But then we want to complain when things are not changed, but don't want to go out to the polls. So the same thing I said, the same way Black and brown communities, for example, could show up to all of the Black Lives Matter protests, rightfully so. It's the same way you can mask up and show up to the polls. If you watched last week, there was a lot of voter suppression going on, and a lot of USPS mailboxes being removed. So let's, skip all of that. Let's make sure we are registered to vote today. You can just go to Google and see where you want to register. Facebook prompts you before you go in and all of that. And let's just make sure that we are registered to vote, and then we vote come time for November 3rd.
I would say this though as well. Like this is the best way I can put why we need to vote, right? So for you who are viewers and you already vote, but I know somebody out there knows somebody that says they not voting, right? But if you're anything like me, I don't like people telling me what to do. And I feel like if we don't vote, somebody's always going to be able to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And it's wild that, we have someone in the White House who's lawless, but imposes so many laws. But furthermore, it's just like, don't tell me what to do. And America is all about paperwork. I don't give a damn about paperwork. I'll burn every damn paper in this world. But I'm not, because I love trees, and that's not good for our lungs, and that's not good for our respiratory systems. But still, please go out there and vote. That's the easiest way to put it. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. So next up, another reason why we should vote.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say vote, I'm talking bigger than presidency. I'm talking about district attorneys, attorney generals, school board, all of that. This is why we need to vote. So if you know Lori Loughlin, if y'all remember from the Full House TV show, what was her name again? Aunt Vicky, Uncle Jesse's wife, who had yeah, but she was in Full House, basically Uncle Jesse's wife, right?
Oh, copy. Mm-hmm.
Right? She has just been sentenced to 2 months in a prison of her choice. And when that was released to the public, celebrities like LeBron James and Meek Mill went ape shit. Like, they went crazy. They took their voices to social media. Right. They made sure they was heard, right? But this is the problem, right? So Lori Loughlin and her husband both paid $500,000 in a scandal to get their daughter into the college of their choice. I believe it was the University of Southern California, right? And they did that, which is one of the biggest scandals in history. Well, not history, but it's the biggest scandal right now as far as lying and falsified documentation, right? They posed it onto like the school's receipts and budgets as recruitment. So they made fake, they act like they put a budget out to recruit like players for the school, but in reality, that budget itself was to pay for their daughter to get into a college, but she probably wasn't qualified to get into if she had to pay $500,000.
But when you got money, you know what I'm saying? So they were, and during that time, it was a lot of fraud going on because they would even like fake applications. They would take the stats of other eligible players to make these sports teams, for example, to join these schools. So it was a lot going on. Go ahead, though.
So the biggest part that makes it a huge problem is the fact, if y'all remember Tanya McDowell, right? I'm going to say Tanya McDowell's name again. Tanya McDowell is a young woman a few years back who was homeless, and she falsified proof of address to get her son into a school that had a better education system. So she wanted her kid to go to a better school out of the district and all that sort. But wherever they live, you have to stay within your zone. We all know about redlining, so I'm sure the school she lived by was shitty. She wanted her kid to get out of there and get to a better school. Would you believe she was sentenced to 12 years in prison for falsifying a piece of mail while she was homeless? Like, this is the mother doing everything she can to make sure her child has a better future than she did.
Can you just say that one more time, that juxtaposition, one more time, because I don't think it hit people the way it needed to hit people.
So we have a white woman, I'm gonna just keep it frank with you, right? We have a white woman with a whole bunch of money, right? Her namesake must not be doing that great because she had to pay $500,000 to do a scandal to get her daughter into the University of Southern America, right? Mm-hmm. She gets sentenced to 2 months in prison, to a prison of her choice. Her husband got sentenced to 5 months. So in total, they only had to serve 7 months time, right? Because they are financially ahead of us, pretty much, right? We got Tanya McDowell, who was a homeless woman doing everything she can to provide free education, right? A homeless woman doing everything she can to provide free education in a better school for her child to have a better future, and she's sentenced to 12 years in prison off of just a documentation that has a wrong address on it. Of course, got the wrong address on it because she's homeless. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying to you? And she sentenced to 12 years in prison, and it just shows how it's really privilege. Like that's why I put privilege versus punishment. Like black people are punished far more cruelly than any white person for anything, and it makes no sense. We got a comment from Paola Garcia. House of Representatives and Senators are super important to vote for this upcoming election. They are in charge of writing our laws. Hell yes. Thank you. Nothing but this is surprising, and this is a sad part. It's sad. It's devastating. That is devastating. Like, this goes to show you that they don't give a damn. So Meek Mill had like a tweet, not a tweet, but he posted something on Instagram. Like, he's laughing. He's like, yeah, they want to treat us like, let's show them. But like we said in season 2 and season 1, Meek Mill is a huge part of the reform. The criminal justice reform really picked up momentum when Meek Mill was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison for popping a willy, right? Granted, he violated probation or parole, but still 2 to 4 years for popping a willy for a music video for some kids. That was crazy. So reform has been pushing. Rock Nation has been behind it. The owner of the 76 has been behind it. It's been going. So Meek Mill literally called out the reform, not called out on like some, y'all not doing nothing. It's like, yo, let's get this lady out. And I'm happy for that, and I'm grateful for that. Let's keep turning over these convictions. You feel me?
Fact. And real quick, Sean Wright said, our skin is our sin, which I think is an interesting line. Next up, really quickly, is Nene Leaks, y'all. Nene Leaks is leaving the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But before we even get into this part of Flash News, I need everybody to follow what that good old ticker says at the bottom. And just do us a favor and share this video so that we can share the love and spread the love with everybody. Give this information, this knowledge, this amazing panel that's about to come up, and that people can just see that, because it's super duper important what we're doing, and we want to do things for the culture, by the culture, and be able to deliver an experience that people can appreciate. So do me a favor, just press that good old share button. If you're on YouTube, share the link with people you know. If you're on Facebook, just press the share button. We appreciate y'all. But back to Nene Leaks real quick. So Nene Leaks has been on Real Housewives of Atlanta for so long. All right, she is one of the highest paid people on the show. She's one of the reasons why people keep coming back to the show, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, she just pretty much said that she was going back and forth with negotiations, and she pretty much said like she can't do it. You know, she knows her worth, and she can't be there. You know, if your money, if you're the person why people are pretty much coming to watch the show, obviously there are other characters, but if you're the person why people are coming to watch the show, then you should be paid equally. You know what I mean? And I feel like she's just not, you know, after a certain point, you kind of become an OG and came, and nobody's willing to give her what she wants. So she said there's not enough filming time for her to even make sense of it, and there's not enough money in it for her to make sense of it. So I just want to real quick roll a clip and show you guys what she said about this. So let me go ahead and get that going. And I thought it was pretty interesting. So I'm interested to hear y'all's feedback after this.
We got one that's funny.
Okay.
I have made a very hard and difficult decision to not be a part of Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13. I'm just so happy that I can say that I was a part of a genre that opened up doors for Black ensemble reality shows to step up and be a part of what we all now love so much, reality TV.
Oh, Wendy, I haven't seen her in a minute.
Yeah, she's back with season. So Joelle Garland said, so the show is canceled, right? Pretty much, right? It's been on for like 13 seasons, Sean said. And she said this shit, and she says this shit every season. That's true. She has said that she's gonna quit in the past, but I think this is one of the first times where like she puts it out and she put the video out. Now maybe this could be a publicity stunt to get more views. Even we know how Hollywood and TV works, and if you don't,
Right.
sorry, you do. So this might have been something to kind of boost the views up. And even her and Wendy Williams have a pretty decent relationship, and they talk often. And Wendy was like, I don't believe her when she's saying it. So we'll see how it goes. But we know that the show is not going to be much without Nene Leaks. That being said, something happened major with an icon, Deione Sanders, Ness. And which HBCU on?
Huh?
I said, which HBCU? Like, put us on. Just tell us the whole thing.
All right, so if you know Deione Sanders, he's a retired football player. He was an outstanding football player at that, right? So now he's become the coach of Jackson State. I didn't even know it was an HBCU, to be honest with you, and I really wish I went to an HBCU. But he's became the head coach at the Jackson State University. He's getting a lot of buzz about it. They did a huge welcome for him. It was like, I don't even think the welcome was honestly COVID friendly, because I seen the marching bands there, people in the crowds, they was crowning him, they had like balloons and everything. But this is what I want to say. When I was in college, my junior year, I changed my mind to sports management. And when I was in sports management,
you were committed to that. Like, I remember.
Right. And when I switched to sports management, I didn't realize how fucking interesting, it is learning about more in depth about sports. Right? So I had to learn how to be like a sports commentator, had to learn how to like do stats, had to learn the history of sports in America and everything of that sort. So one of the biggest thing I learned about sports was sports. All right, America is literally has two of its greatest revenues, right? America runs on pharmaceutical drugs.
And Duncan.
Huh?
And Duncan. Go ahead,
okay,
man.
my bad. You're right. America runs on Duncan,
right?
Pharmaceutical drugs, and sports. Like, the revenue America gets from sports alone is outrageous, and that's why they're even starting to let college athletes, get a little bit of pay. But so, for instance, say a university, right? Because I want y'all to tie in how this is so helpful for this HBCU, right? A university gets money to make better facilities, to provide more scholarships and grants for students based off of how well their sports do. So if you go and you see them big sport teams on TV and they're doing great, if you go to their campus, it's nuts. Man, it's nuts because of the revenue that they get for season tickets, from endorsements. Like people like Jordan, Under Armour, Nike's going to endorse them, make this campus even better, build new facilities. And they pay for season tickets, they pay for endorsements, and you have to pay for parking. One of the schools of the biggest revenue of America, period, is Penn State, right? But imagine all those monies that go into places like Harvard, Penn State, Kansas City, Kentucky, Tennessee. Imagine all that money that those schools generate off of how good their sports team are. What if HBCUs are just now known for their sports? Not just known for it, but are known for their sports, where now their campus is generating millions and billions of dollars that they have never seen before, based off of the hype of the fact that, my son is about to get trained by a legit NFL player, right? Mm-hmm. And when he made that move, I said, that is amazing. Now, what if all and most retired athletes who don't have a job in the NBA, because the NBA does whatever it wants to do sometimes, right? What if they don't have a job in the NBA, but they're qualified to be a coach? That's why basketball players we breed. Like, these are sports that we're predominantly Black in. This is why they go crazy. You know what I'm saying? So imagine if we bring that back to our own colleges and make HBCUs great again. You get what I'm saying too?
No, let's not use that slogan.
It's not better.
All right, so I feel like you got more sports stuff on the docket.
Plenty of sports stuff. I made sure it's exciting for everybody.
Just a side note, real quick. So we was like, we've been kind of like, granted, it's only episode 2, but we want to be perfect every time, right? We try to have the real good balance. Now, let me back it up. We obviously can't control what's happening, right, in the world. So we go ahead and we try to strategically pick all the things that fit within our scope, obviously. We was like, we got to get more sports stuff because we ain't have enough sports. So that's here with the sports. What's up? What's next on the list?
So if y'all been watching, I know mad people haven't been watching sports lately, and that's okay. No one's really in the mood to take on sports as the way that they usually do. And that's fine. And I'm grateful that sports is going towards social justice. So it's not like we're getting away from the fact of all the movements that's happening now every day.
But can we talk about how they had stood in solidarity, locked arms pretty much, or whatever the case was, and they got booed? They were booed by the audience.
See, this is the problem. If you don't like it, we're going to force you to get used to it. And that's the part.
Because this is not a moment. This is a movement.
An unstoppable movement. Correct. So I have been watching the Lakers because the Lakers have sparked my attention for like the last 3 seasons. And, you know, LeBron went there. Anthony Davis went there. Rondo went there. It's like the Lakers is literally stacked with number 1 draft picks. I feel like this is the team with the most number 1 draft picks. And I feel like no other team has done that in history. But then, you know what? We lost Kobe. Mm-hmm. And when the loss of Kobe was very detrimental to the world, but it was super detrimental to the Lakers, right? And it's like, I feel like they have all taken this Mamba mentality and just went for the moon, right? Mm-hmm. So I have been watching to see how Anthony Davis has grown. We all know when he was on the New Orleans Pelicans, he was still number 1 draft pick. He was still nice. He was the leading scorer, but he didn't get to the finals. You know what I'm saying? You have great season, but you never get to the finals, and damn, right? So they're having a great season, and I've been watching to see how Anthony Davis has been warming up, and he has been going off. The last 3 games, he has averaged over 30 points, and it's like he's smooth with it. Like, he'll drop a couple buckets here and there, but then he'll just go on a spree where he just scored like 14, 15 of the team's last points. So I want to give y'all a little bit of action and show y'all this buzzer beater that he did to win game 2 of the Western Finals. So they're in like, out of this finals is whoever going to go to the finals, like out of this Western hemisphere, right? Y'all ready?
As well. A lot of time here. 2.1 seconds remaining. Denver foul to give. Jokic trying to disrupt Rondo. He puts it in. Here's Davis for 3 in the win. Oh, it's good! Davis has won! Yours.
Look at all that black love. Look at all that happiness. I don't know about y'all, but I've been a sucker for sports all my life because I feel like sports was the first thing I ever connected to unity.
Yo, Naz, real quick, I'm sorry. Sean Wright goes on Facebook, Jermaine Wright, as if this is me. I have no idea what the fuck Naz is talking about, so I'm gonna sip and let her rock out.
You just like your brother.
That's him. No, that's what he said.
Oh, good job.
About me, like
you. Yeah, he said buckets. Ain't nobody said buckets in
Matt. Yeah, why Sean just said he said as if I screamed touchdown during the
You do that. I told you about the time.
I don't hear. Stop.
I told you about the time I was watching playoffs in my own house and Jermaine asked me, do I need to hear it? And can I just mute my
Wow, that's what we're doing today?
All right, I'm sorry. Next on the docket. So I know we've talked a lot about the racial disparities of America in this episode. But since have been doing this Black Lives Matter movement, right? We've been able to focus on the fact that, yes, there is 2 Americas in this damn America. 2, we face a lot of police brutality at a higher rate than any other race. 3, there's an educational disparity. 4, there's a home ownership disparity. But most importantly, we've been getting down to the disparity in the medical fields, right? And how young Black people, especially Black women, you know what I'm saying? Black males too, of course, but they go into a doctor's office and they don't get treated for what they need to get treated for. They get passed on, handed off. No one's doing the right procedure. No one's taking the right x-ray because they're just like, there's been this stigma that Black people don't feel pain, right? And recently there was a young woman that went into the hospital because she had high blood pressure and the doctor sent her home. Long story short, she died while giving birth because her blood pressure was too high and she ended up getting blood clots in her leg, right? But now San Francisco is doing a new pilot program called the Abundance Project, where they are picking 150 low-income families, and if you're pregnant or just giving birth to a baby, they're gifting you $1,000 a month for an extra 6 months to see if it can curb the disparity, to see if now that you have the money to pay for all the procedures that you may need, or something's wrong with you, or whatever it is that you need in healthcare, they're seeing that if this extra $1,000 a month can kind of like curb it. So they're trying to see if it's an economical thing or is it literally just a racist doctor thing. So I think that's a dope pilot for them to figure out. But, you know, pretty much train your doctors to love everybody. Pretty much you shouldn't become a doctor if you don't love everybody. That's nuts.
So,
right?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yes, say something.
No. You good?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I thought you had another line. I was like, let me not interrupt, my bad. But I just want to say real quick, you know, we cannot do this show without, you know, the help of our amazing sponsors, right? And sponsors obviously help us do all the amazing things that we do, kind of help us kind of elevate and upgrade the experience. And one of those amazing sponsors has to be our beloved, amazing 8 Count Kitchen. So shout out to our sponsor, 8 Count Kitchen, by yours truly, Chef Jermaine Wright, delivering in-home personal chef services in the greater capital district area and the greater New York City area. Also, I am and we are passport ready to get flued out no matter where you are, so we can go ahead and deliver that amazing experience for you, whether it's a party of 2 up to a party of 75 or up to 150. Don't get crazy after that. That's nuts. And we got to call in the whole team and all that. But just know that we are here to deliver an amazing experience. And you save some money if when you go to www.8countkitchen.com and click contact and fill out that form and you mention Gourmet Foreplay, you get $150 off your first booking. Ooh. 150, and that's just for this episode. You just gotta say episode 2, season 3 to get the 150.
They need to show you receipts that they subscribe to the YouTube.
Everything. So it's a receipt that you subscribed. Show me whatever you got, but you get 150 off your first booking. All right. So make sure you say Gourmet Foreplay. Mention that in your things when you go ahead and submit your inquiry, and then we're good to go. But I hear that we got another amazing sponsor that really helps us do all the amazing things we do.
Of course. If you know me, you know I'm Ness Diddy, and I'm from Cups and Convos. Cups and Convos is the #1 gender relations web series in the whole entire U.S., period. No one's doing it like us, and that's all good. So we bring a common neutral ground for people to sit there and come in and talk about their dating experiences, what they've been through, what they're not going to go through, what their preferences, whatever they like. Imagine if instead of hanging out with your boys talking about girls or talking about boys, or if you're hanging out with your girls, you're talking about girls, or you're talking about boys, whatever the case may be, now you have that counterpart to finally bring in and get a complete understanding, right? So I'm going to play one of the clips because this is what we do. And this is the hot seat. Now, if you want to come to be on the show, get in the hot seat, I think you should do it, right? So this next topic right here is, how many chances do you give if it's trash, right? The sex, right?
Excuse me? There's no chances. There's absolutely not. No.
We hearing a double, Ness.
We hearing
a double.
Won't be wasting my foot.
A double feed?
Yeah, double audio.
So we gonna cancel that. How that look sound now?
I'm not teaching. I'm way too old for that. Like
after 2, if you can't do it right, then.
But that's just a brief piece of what it is. Like, that's one of our questions, one of our latest questions. How was it the second time I pressed play?
I think still doubled.
I don't like this. But anyway, is lit. Subscribe, tune in, hit me with my DM, see what it's like.
But what we want to say real quick is honestly, like, we want to invite y'all to pretty much get your brand on air, right? So let us put your product, brand, or business in front of our audience. You could DM us on Instagram at gourmet_foreplay, or email us at gourmetforeplay@gmail.com to feature your brand, business, or product. And we have sponsorship packages that are available for small and large brands, and we customize it to fit your budget. All right, we're not here to rob anybody. We're only here to make sure that your brand gets seen, and we're also here to make sure that we can keep doing amazing things. All right, so make sure you go ahead and email us at gourmetforeplay@gmail.com, or just hit us up in the DMs after this. All right, want to get your brand on air. All right.
All right. So I think I'm ready to.
That was the flash news.
I'm going to play it. I'm not going to discuss them. This is to our last one. She's undocumented immigrants in detention centers getting their uterus removed by our government is fucking nuts. That's why we got to vote this out of here, because there's no way to treat anybody. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you have a turtle shell for a back. You shouldn't be treated like you're not normal. That's nuts. Michael Cole says he wasn't a beast in New Orleans. He's a beast in LA. That's the whole entire fact. Gonna skim through, and I think we're all set here. So,
here we go for the entree. Go ahead, Ness. What do you think?
Like I said before, like we've been hearing a lot of the anxiety that parents are going through during the pandemic. Right? It's been fortunate enough for Jermaine and I to go through our own anxieties without any kids, and to be around people with kids and have friends that are kids and have family who have kids. We're just like, that has to be a lot. Right. So back to school went back. Some states went back 2 weeks ago. Some states went back 1 week ago, depending on what district or whatever county you're in. It's now getting into like real life. Like, you know what I'm saying to you, is real life. Some of my staff members now take the mornings off, or I have to come late because they got to take their kid to school. They were panicking about it. They didn't know how they was going to feel about their kid going back to the general population. It was a lot going on. I'm just like, damn, there's a lot of parents in the world. I just want to hear from real parents exactly how it's going.
And it's back to school time, and I feel like other parents want to hear from other parents to see how are we coping with having this in our, for the people who want to, but having this in our kids back into the general population. Some people have pre-existing health conditions. How is that going to affect us when the kid comes home? So there's a lot going on, and we appreciate our panelists for this evening. But go ahead, do you think?
So I'm going to introduce each parent, frame by frame. They're going to give a quick little intro to themselves. Just say their names, how many kids they got, the age of their kids, and if you want to say something spicy, say something spicy. You get me?
And before we get spicy, let's go ahead and introduce this.
Well, that's nice, man. You. I don't know any co-executive producer as nice as you are, because you were safe, 2, you're creative.
First of all, I know an executive producer that's as smooth as I am, and that's you, mofo. So let's act like we know. Period.
Okay. So we got our first parent. We got Mr. Michael Cole. He's from North Carolina. Well, he's from New York, but he lives in North Carolina.
We got two North Carolina residents on the call today.
North Carolina, come on, the raise up, take it straight up. Just around your head, feeling like a helicopter.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up? How y'all doing?
You're doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
So, how many kids do you have?
I got 2, a 14-year-old boy and a 12-year-old daughter, grown.
Ooh, that's a lot. And you're in North Carolina, right? And how you been feeling?
I've been feeling good. It's good. I had slow, but it's good.
I hear that.
Especially compared to New York, I can imagine.
Right.
Of course.
I'm glad you're here, Mike. So we got to bring another one. So we got the Garcias.
Can I just want to
do that
real quick. So let's talk about the Garcias real quick, all right? So the Garcias are one of my favorite couples in the world. 2 beautiful women who have raised and welcomed a beautiful little boy into the world. I love and appreciate everything about the way that they kind of approach parenthood. We know that parenthood, as we know, which is why we're having this tonight, we know that being a parent does not come with a manual or a book, but we know that we're doing our best, and they're doing their best to just instill all of these cultural values, just everything that you can think of into a 1-year-old who is smart as hell. So without further ado, I want to just bring on the Garcias to the line. Hey, what's up, y'all?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hello, everyone. So
tell us a little bit about Yeah, there we go. I'm about to say, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us your names, whatever you want to say.
So I'm Paola and I'm Precious, and we have a 22-month-old, so he's gonna be 2 soon in about 2 months. And yes, he's a genius. He's literally a genius. He's like 2 going on 5.
Oh wow, they're not lying.
They're not lying.
We're both educators. I'm teaching 2nd grade, and I teach high school.
Nice. And all I'm gonna say is, go ahead, Ness.
All I'm saying, all my kids is going to your homeschool, whatever that is. I told Pharaoh I said, look, you ain't even 2 years old yet, and I watch about 10 stories on my page a day, and your story is one of them every single day. He's very smart. He talks so clear. He says big words. He drives his own. He can stare. I'm over it. Next one.
Who we got next? Katrina?
On my screen is Ricky.
However you want to do it. Go ahead.
All right. So we have Miss Ricky Johnson over here. CDC professional herself, raising the mother of 4. We're going to bring Ricky Johnson to the stream live. Hello.
Woo! Let's go. What's up? Hold on. Let's unmute you, Ricky. All right. You can't unmute guests because they choose to mute themselves. Unmute yourself. I think you're still muted, Ricky. You're doing great. No worries.
Next caller on the line. You can give me a second. All right. So next one we have Katrina Beeman. I believe it was like Masters in Social Work. Is that what it said?
No, it's a lot more than that. It's a license.
Esquire. I've seen a lot of education, a lot of money, a lot of degrees, and she's a beautiful mother of 1. Let's bring Katrina to the live.
Hey,
hello.
Guys.
Hey.
Hello.
All right, so real quick before we started.
She said, "Want me to say something?"
Yeah. Hold on, Katrina. While we give you time to think about what you're gonna say, real quick. Ricky, how's your mic going? All right, next. So our next sponsor needs to teach sign language. So we can have a more diverse audience. All right. So while Ricky figures out her mic situation and types us in the chat, go ahead, Katrina. Do your thing.
Wasn't sure what I was supposed to say. I think we
So
discussed this domain.
How old the kid is?
But it's I have a 5-year-old daughter. Just started kindergarten. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so yes, I do have my master's. I think that's about it. Here I am.
And okay. And did you say how old your daughter was?
5. Mm-hmm.
5 years old. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All right. So Ricky, it says that your mic isn't connected. Are you here?
I'm here, I think. So just give me a minute. I can figure it out. Just give me a minute.
Heard. So let's go. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Give us an idea of who you are, a little bit about what you do, and something about your kids or whatever.
Okay, my name is Ricky. My mic doesn't work, but I biologically have 3 sons. They are 15, 10, and 5. I have a 20-year-old stepson, and I just became the guardian of my 17-year-old niece.
Oh, nice.
So you got a 10. My bad. I need to fix that one.
Yeah, so that's why my picture didn't have my kids in it, because it wasn't a big enough frame. I have a bigger situation than everybody else.
Got it.
So Joel Garland said, "I love the sign language, Ricky." And then said, "Very innovative." Mo Def said, "Y'all looking like the Brady Bunch," and I love it. MVT Printing says, "Yay!" And we're gonna get right in. And just to give y'all a heads up of how today is gonna go for our viewers. So pretty much, we're gonna have some questions individually to each parent, get an idea of again their parenting approach, how they've been managing parenting during the pandemic, etc. And then we'll open it up to discussion for the actual full panel, to where we'll go ahead and have that open to everybody. And yeah, and that's, you can use your magic tricks to pull up the screens when they're talking. We're gonna be good to go.
Yes, sir, Bob. All right, so first caller on the line.
It makes me sick.
Right? First random question, right? It's a random. You can just say yes or no, right? How many of you all opted to let your children go back to school who have already attended school? Anyone let them go back to school? Back to school open?
Well, It's not open yet, but she will be going back if they do.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
Well, my kids, they started school July 19th, and they did a half in school, half out of school. But right now, since it's still kind of high, they totally remote for right now. They might go bring them back to school soon, but right now, totally remote.
Got you. Ricky, any of yours went back?
Say it again.
Did any of your children go back?
No, they're all here.
He said, "Not where I work." You know more than we do. Lyra was pretty young. Okay, so that's a good answer. So I'm gonna do the individual questions first, right? So first question goes to Ricky, right? As a parent with 4 boys and 1 girl.
Hey, that's me, Ness. That's not Ricky.
As a parent, listen, there's 6 of us. We laid the Brady Bunch like Mo said, right? So, as a parent with 4 boys and 1 girl, what has your experience been with digital learning, and what are your thoughts on having them enter traditional schools during COVID?
My experience has been madness, because as y'all heard, I have children in different age groups. So, like my older children, they're pretty self-sufficient. They can, navigate their digital learning by themselves. But for the 5-year-old, I pretty much have to, within my workday, I have to be mom, wife, the employee that I am. Plus, I have to be his paraprofessional in his class and actually sit with him in his classes. Oh, hey, whoever's saying hi to me. But and sit with him in his classes to make sure that he can do his assignments. So it's been very stressful. My employer has been very understanding, though, and telling us to put our children first. But it is a lot to deal with. And then with my niece, since she just moved here, she's not familiar with how we do things at all with the digital learning system. So it's been a lot to juggle.
Wow, where is she originally from? Like what state?
From New York.
New York, okay. It's a little different up here. All right, so you have a full house. Is it tiring? Is it hectic? Is it loud? It
is all of the above. I try to work. For the most part, I try to work my workday around their schedule if I can. I try to give my 5-year-old like what I call them brain breaks. When I have like an important Zoom call or something for work, I let him do whatever he wants to do because it's really hard. Like I actually struggle with the fact of sending him or not because I feel like he needs that social interaction. And I feel like for a 5-year-old, this is not the ideal learning situation, right? And this is the year where he's supposed to transition into big boy school, and it's not going to happen from my living room. So to kind of balance that, I've put him in soccer. So it's not the same as school, but I do have him, doing sports. And then with the older boys, although they're missing their interaction too, they're older, so they have like ways to communicate with their friends digitally and virtually, and they do that gaming crap and all of that. My niece really wants to be in school because she's just got here, so she doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have any way to make friends. But she also has a pre-existing health condition, so I wasn't sending her back anyway. So yeah, it's been very busy. But with my 5-year-old, like I said, he's the biggest challenge because this is all new to him. He had a little bit of an upper hand because over the summer when they first closed school down here, my aunt is an educator in New York, so I would have her do Zoom calls with him twice a week just so we can get him up to speed and get him ready for kindergarten because schools down here ended so abruptly. I didn't even know where they were at in his pre-K class. So, thanks to her, he went into kindergarten. He's the only child in his class that can read. He knows how to maneuver Zoom. He tells his teachers, this is how you unmute. This is how you put somebody in the waiting room. So it works out in that regard, but it's just very hard on him because he's like, Mommy, is this what school is really about? And I'm like, no, not really. So it's been rough. I don't like it, but at the same time, it's the safest situation, at least for now.
Gotcha.
Real quick, Ness and Ricky. So we have a question from George Watkins, but before we ask the panelists the questions, what I want you guys to do is feel free to put questions in the comments. But we'll ask the panelists, we'll choose questions at the end to ask them as a whole once we get through the one-by-ones.
Yes. So next up, thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it.
So who's next? Katrina?
Yeah.
All right. So Katrina.
Hey.
What's up? What's up? Let's pop her on the screen. Front and center.
Oh, no. I'm
We love us some Katrina Beeman. All right. So as Nessa pops you up on the front of the screen and removes Ricky with you, What we're gonna say, I'm gonna ask you this good old question. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, as a parent with a kindergartner, right? How much faith do you have in your child and your child's school to keep your child and other children safe?
I wouldn't exactly call it faith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hopeful, I guess you could say. Of course, they have a plan. My issue is, are they going to be able to implement that plan with such young children? Which I doubt. Luckily, things have gone well so far. She was in daycare when this all started. They allowed the children of essential workers to continue going. And so far, she's been great with that. She's had to go to YMCA because I cannot take off work.
Yeah.
So I just did a lot of teaching her how to keep your mask on, make sure it's covering your nose, wash your hands, keep her bag packed with hand sanitizer, extra mask, all that type of stuff. So I'm trying to put my faith more so in my child because I'm teaching her.
Yeah,
But she's 5. So, she's going to want to play with her friends and touch things. And she wears glasses, so she can't really get to her eyes that well. But, it does worry me, but I'm trying to be as hopeful as possible because I just don't have those options.
Copy. Okay, cool beans. And do you find that it's you said that you don't have a lot of faith in the school and other people, but you have faith in your child, obviously, because you're the one teaching her. Like kids is usually how the germs come. Do you have any like worries about you possibly getting something?
I mean, I'm so grateful that we've been okay thus far, and I'm hoping that it can stay that way. Ooh, just lost my thing. Hold on, stuck in the hair.
That's a good hair. Mm-hmm.
It's really not, but yeah, we've so far so good. We're just trying to take the precautions we can. But so far so good, and hopefully it stays that way. Kids are very nasty, but we're doing all right so far.
Perfect. We appreciate you. Nat, you up next with Mikey?
Yes, sir. All right, so Mikey, you ready? All right, you want a big screen, big dog? All right, so Mike, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Right? I know you have a child with a pre-existing health condition. So having a child with a pre-existing health condition, what does your child's future look like as far as school is concerned? And how do you prep your child to go to school knowing that there may be an increased risk of contracting COVID?
Well, lucky for me, kind of grew out of his little asthma thing, so I'm grateful for that. But as far as that, being me and his mom, she's a germaphobe and I'm a hypochondriac, kind of like you and Maine.
I'm about to say that sounds just like us.
It's like they've been kind of trained on hand sanitizers and keeping their hands clean and hands out their mouth. So and as far as he's concerned, he doesn't really leave the house. He's like he's what you call the gamer. So he doesn't really leave the house. So this really doesn't bother him. The quarantine stuff doesn't really bother him. But
he's in paradise or something?
Yeah, he's in paradise right now. But yeah, we've been over with them plenty of times about, just wash your hands, keep your hey, stop touching your face, don't touch your face. He likes to touch the skin sometimes, but don't touch your face. He'd be like, I ain't going nowhere, I ain't go outside. So we've been up on them since they've been little. My wife wipes the table down at IHOP before Corona. She's saying that she puts the big sanitizer bottle out her purse on the table. So I mean, they've been kind of pre-trained even before the whole Corona thing. So it's just, I have confidence in them. It's just other people.
Right.
But yeah,
I feel like it's just like driving, right? Kind of. Obviously, I'm not a parent, so this is probably a terrible example. But I feel like when you're driving, everyone's like, "Shut up, you're not a parent." No, but I feel like when you're driving, you're not really worried about, right? It's like you have confidence in your ability to drive, but it's more so you got to pay attention to the other drivers around you, and that's really where the question comes from. So I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Not true.
Why nobody drinking?
Listen,
I've been drinking. I'm trying to take at the same time. Look,
Mike, you already know.
Okay.
All right, so we got Precious and Paola up next.
Yes, I'm gonna drag him to the mid screen. Hello, Precious and Paola.
Hello.
All right. So for Precious and Paola, all right. So since you guys have a 1-year-old bilingual toddler, which I spoke more than one language outside of my Spanish regions. All right. What does your child's future look like as far as school is concerned? And how do you prep your child to go to school? I'm lying to you. So sorry. Since you have a 1-year-old bilingual toddler who has been homeschooled since birth, what are your views on public education in a traditional school setting? And do you plan on entering them into the general population schooling as we progress through the pandemic?
Well, this is a great question.
Loaded.
It's such a loaded question. Well, I think that homeschooling has gone well for us because we're both educators and we've been in the education field from literally birth through all the way through high school. So we're very like well versed. So he's like reaching all his goals and surpassing them. But we're also teachers in an education system. We're in a charter school, so it's done a little bit different than a public school. And, you know, that's a whole different conversation. And every charter school is different depending on where you go. But I would say that in terms of sending him to school, I think we're going to probably keep him home until he's probably like maybe 4. Because we live in Massachusetts and the schooling is a little bit different here. But it's just he's young and he's growing his teeth. He puts his fingers in his mouth. Like you can't really control, you know, him staying out, you know, not getting germs. So he has a nanny and he will be with his nanny probably until he's like 4 or 5. And we'll just, you know, worry about his education ourselves, I feel like, because we're educators.
Hello, everyone. I believe that we are our children's first teacher. And as a parent for the almost 2 years, there's nothing that anyone can teach my son better than me. I'm setting the bar very high for him. And like Katrina said, I want to put that faith in him. Yes, he's only 2, but like I don't trust that the systems that these schools and these childcare centers have in place are actually they're going to follow through. Because for all I know, they could just want to reopen, get that cash flow going again. And then because we have no other choice, then we risk sending him out, like you said, to the petri dish of germs. And we just don't want to risk it. Like we have a beautiful setup where he can stay home. So we came from public schools. I don't see us putting him in a public school. And that's something that we're going to think about down the line. But yeah.
Gotcha. And you said, you guys said that, you know, these are questions that you guys have kind of been asking yourselves for a little while now. How do you feel like y'all have made progress in finding a solution, or do you still feel like you're kind of trying to figure things out and ride the wave a little?
Well, like yes, we have been speaking about all of this, and the things that we've been like kind of like concocting in our minds is that I guess for us it's like super important that when it comes to education, for Pharaoh at least, that they're not just looking at like all the academic stuff that they're trying to jam down his head, but also like his safety and his mental health, right? And that's where we're leading from, like his safety and his mental health. So I think that's the first reason why we kept him like with a nanny. But then second of all, like thinking forward, like in the future and putting him into schools, like we don't know how long this corona stuff is gonna last. Our school district, we're teachers, we're teaching from home, and we're gonna be teaching from home for the whole entire year. And I am fine with that. I'm fine with that because we have that set up, and not everybody has that set up, and we're understanding of that, right? And as teachers, we're working with our students and with our families, however we can, to make this all work for all of our students. You know what I mean? And we kind of want an education for our child that's gonna be like that, you know, that's gonna think about our child not only in the academics, because I'm a teacher, I don't believe that academics is the end all be all, right? It's like if you're healthy and then you're also a socially like conscious and healthy and nice human being, I think you're very on top. And then academics, okay, great, you know, but
definitely, looking for a place that's gonna think about his mental health and also his health as well. And for the future,
That makes sense.
That
Okay.
makes perfect sense.
So we back to the Brady Brunch vibes.
The Brady Bunch. It's the way. That's my
Yes, we said we're not going to sing on this season. We said that.
We said you, bro.
Whatever. That's why part of your wall is showing. Stoops. That's what you get.
I got nice walls. I don't care.
but shift slowly.
That's crazy. You out of control, yo. You out of control.
All right, Ness, first question is on you to the panel.
Bet. So I see some questions in the comments. We're gonna ask them like a couple, and I think it's kind of fair if we at least let the the audience have a couple questions. So be ready, y'all. All right. So quick question. So a couple of my staff that I've been around, they didn't receive any word from their schoolings about the teaching alternatives being provided to them, right? So I want to ask y'all, what learning alternatives has your school district issued out to y'all? Did they put out a memo? Did they email you? What options did they give y'all for back to school? Because I think Atlanta had went back at one point and they had to go home.
I can comment on it since you mentioned Georgia. But so Georgia is broken up into different counties, and every county is kind of governed on its own. So in my county, the first thing that they did, I want to say back in, because our school year is August to May. So I want to say back in May or June, they sent out a survey to all of the Gwinnett County parents, and they asked if we wanted to go in person, do it virtually, or do a hybrid situation. And then they double back and they said, okay, we're just kidding. No hybrid situation. Do you want to send your children or do you want them to go home? And whatever choice you chose, that's for the whole first 9 weeks of school. So then I think there was 500 some odd parents. No, I'm sorry. Then after that, they came back again and said, just kidding again. Everybody has to be remote. I was cool with that. Apparently there was 500 plus parents who were not, and they went and they protested outside of the superintendent's office and was like, give us our voice, give us our choice, blah, blah, blah. So it was they came back again and was like, okay, we're going to ask you again. Do you want your child to come back or do you want your child to stay home? So I stuck with my original answer. And then I think even after that, now at this point, school had already started, but they kept having these town hall meetings. And they decided to stagger them in because a lot of people did raise a lot of concern, for those who have special needs children or those who, there are a lot of people who can't work from home. I mean, I'm blessed to be able to. So I always tell people, when they ask me, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's madness, but I'd rather this madness than, I'm happy that I'm not forced to not make a choice. I got to send y'all back because I can't be home with you,
Yeah.
So they gave us options, took them back, gave them back, took them back, gave them back, took them back. And now I think they brought the younger grades in, I think at the beginning of September, no, the end of August. And then they started staggering the grades in. So that's how they did it. There's other counties that haven't even gotten much guidance at all, period. But that's how my county did it.
I don't have any kids, but I live in a county that don't care. So I'm just saying, from what I heard, nothing was issued even as the day before school. So,
yeah,
up here, upstate, the capital region,
that in a lot of places, a lot, and I think it's because a lot of cities, states, counties, whatever you want to call them, they don't know what to do. So nobody really knows the right answer. And then in Georgia, a lot of people look to Gwinnett County to be the guiding light of all that, all the educational system. So Gwinnett, I guess, feels like they have this pressure on them to do what's right. Or to, like I said, I guess just proving that if you protest at the superintendent's office, he's ready to change everything up. So you're not listening to guidance or guidelines, but because there's 500 people in your lobby or in your parking lot, now everything changed back. So it's really weird. When I made the decision at first to not send my children, it wasn't even a health reason, to be honest. It wasn't oh, I'm scared if they go, they're going to, catch COVID or anything like that. Honestly, that wasn't my concern. I know that sounds terrible, but my concern was, especially for my younger two, you can't expect children to go back to school and be robotic. That's just not fair. Like, you can't expect them, like, yeah, you can go to school, but you can't speak to your friends. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't go in the hallways. You can't go, you drink water. Like, I'd rather, and granted, my children are very, they know how to wash their hands and put on a mask, but who wants to take away their childhood by teaching them to be robots? Not me. I'd rather you sit here and drive me crazy for 8 hours a day because there's things like this.
Okay. Okay.
Like, I just
don't drink on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, I just felt like it's really unfair to give them those type of expectations because what's the sense? And then from one of the teachers that works out here, from what I was told, she said that even her children that have returned, she's supposed to watch them do digital learning. So like they're still on a computer. She still can't hand out things. She still can't communicate with them. She has to watch them use a computer. So why not use the computer here? You know what I mean? So it is. That makes sense to me.
So I got a random sidebar question because you said something that touched on the topic. I know a lot of people, like a lot of wonderful parents, agreed with you just now because I've seen a lot of heads shaking and nodding. Was y'all kids mad when y'all was like, "Nah, you ain't going back"? Like, was anybody upset about not going back?
Mine was.
Talk to us about it, Mikey.
Yeah.
So this has been my son's freshman year in high school. So all this time he's been hearing about high school, hearing all the stories from his auntie, from me about high school. So he's set for high school, prom, all that stuff. He wasn't really feeling that going into this new environment. So, but at the same time, like I said, he's a gamer. So him being locked away didn't bother him. But for his case, it's actually helping him. I don't know how many parents can say that COVID kind of saved their kids last year, but COVID saved my kid last year. They gotta pass no more. But yeah, he was mad. I thought she's mad because she's very social. She loves hanging with her girls, everything. Even though they live down the street. She loves the whole fact that she can't be in school with them. Take the bus, all that drives her crazy. But at the end of the day, safety first. I told him safety first. I said, we still might live with your friends and stuff.
So Mike, real quick.
Sounds good.
Your audio is skipping, and so is your visual.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tailor your response for just a short moment. Until we recalibrate the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi. All right.
I pay $99.99.
Don't go with this. Stop. All right. So real quick, Ness, did you want to read a few more comments, or did you want to jump straight to the questions to the panel?
Well, I did ask a question to the panel just now. That was that one.
Okay, got it. So let me just read this one from we'll bounce back and forth. Let's read this one from a viewer.
Perfect.
So Sherry Johnson says, question, in what ways have you prevented or corrected the mental health challenges that COVID has brought to most of our households, specifically regarding your child or children? And if possible, just because of the expertise, I'd really like to bounce this question to Katrina Beeman, who is a licensed clinical social worker.
No, don't put me on the spot, man.
Nah, you got this, man. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think a big thing is making sure your child has proper coping skills to deal with what's going on. I think a lot of times we try to kind of hide things from our children in order to protect them, and that's not always the best way to go about it. I think being honest with them, letting them know what's happening, and even if you can find other, I guess, activities to kind of supplement their time so they're not always kind of worrying and, okay, I'm sitting here and I have absolutely nothing to do. What now? So definitely working on some type of coping skills, finding other activities to occupy their time, and just being upfront and honest with them about it.
Okay. We appreciate that.
I just
Yep.
want to
Go ahead.
I want to spin because I know a lot of parents are like really, really worried about like the social aspect with their kids, not being able to get that social aspect with other students. And I guess like I know this is like really, really different for our kids. And I, as a teacher, I always say this is like a very great time to innovate what education should look like for the future. So like, I'm super excited, especially at our school, we're doing so much great things. But
I say that this is a great time for our parents to be more connected with our kids and to know that our kids are not only getting social practice and social skills from schools, like they are also getting this at home. They're also getting this with whatever like family members they are allowed to be with during this pandemic. They're getting those social skills. So like just finding more time to connect with our kids and just talking to them, it's also gonna like be, I think, positive for them, and they won't lose out on that social skills that like we fear so much because they're not in school, because they can also get that from us as well. It doesn't matter how old you are or how old the person is that is interacting with your child. The only thing that matters is that they're getting some kind of interaction with anybody.
So, did you have anything to add, Precious? All right, cool beans. So real quick, so just since the Garcias just went on, this is just a good transition. So Joelle Garland says, to the Garcias, have you felt overwhelmed, and how do you handle balancing out homeschooling and teaching yourselves, especially at a young age? And when I say teaching yourselves, I mean in terms of keeping up with your career as well. Puts comment back up so you can read and know how to answer.
You know, I don't have my eyes on, child.
I ain't got my glasses on today.
So yes, it has been extremely overwhelming. During this pandemic, we both became unemployed. So that left, when I say everything up in the air for Chance, we had no idea. Wow. That was super stressful. But out of that, Farrell had no idea what was going on. And like you guys said, like just at his young age, yes, he knows what coronavirus is. He knows that when we go out in public, he's not giving hugs and high fives, and he needs to wash his, like those are the little things that we're ingraining in him. But I guess we're balancing career and having him home. I think it's a good balance. Like we said earlier, he has a nanny who's with him 5 days a week for the day. So we get that time to really focus and teach and really put our all into this new learning experience that we're going through.
I would say that, I mean, it's hard to balance everything because like teaching in the digital age is so freaking crazy. It's so hard. It's so hard because you're teaching not only your content, but you're also teaching tech skills. And then like also while also trying to take care of our child's education. But and mental health. I feel like when we think about our child's education, especially me, I think of a more like free going, like free to be you and me, you know, type education, like, because I feel like a lot of times we focus a lot on academics, and especially he's about to be 2. So I feel like at his age, you don't have to enforce like so much like A, B, C's, 1, 2, 3 shapes. Even though he knows that stuff, that's not what he really needs to know at this age. What he really needs to know is
how to be empathetic,
how to use his words and stuff like that. And I think that as kids get older, yeah, they need academics, but I think it's so much more important that when they're this young, we teach them how to be human first. Because if you have that base really good, once they go to school, the academic stuff, that's going to be easy. I always say that stuff is easy. That's surface stuff. But it's hard to be a good human being. So for us, in terms of academics, yeah, we do academics here and there. Like we read books, and we're making sure that we're singing all the time, and we're making sounds of letters, because, you know, those are great ways for kids to learn. But I guess we don't really worry so much on academics, because we have faith that once he gets older, he's gonna be good with that. You know what I mean? And in terms of our careers, it's freaking hard. It's hard as hell. Sometimes we're so tired at the end of the day. We're like, we don't really let Farrell watch too much TV, but sometimes we're like, okay, you're just gonna watch TV right now.
All the parents is like, I know the feeling, girl. I know it.
So like, it super hard, but I mean, we try the best that we can. We're not perfect.
See, when I said balance, I'm like more of the, yeah, we got this. Don't worry, girl, we're gonna be good. And then she's like, yo, I don't know.
Yo, so Ness, there's another comment if you want to read this one real quick. It looks like it's to Ricky, which is spelled incorrectly, but we're gonna let that slide.
It's all right.
Can I just do something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Ricky! I just wanted to say that out loud.
Get out. I almost removed you from the stream.
You act like no idea. You don't even know where I get it from, bro.
You're hyped. All right, relax. I got personal relationships and jokes with your aunt. All Lorraine know jokes that I got personal too. Get out of here.
Yo, Mike. Yo, you hear this?
I am.
This is crazy.
She's been jealous of me and your aunt's relationship since high school. No,
Joel Garland said to Ricky, do you think that having a household with so many different energies and age ranges throughout the house can also give your youngest a sense of socialization or socializing, although the ages range largely?
Yeah, definitely. He that's where he gets the bulk of it from. So it's not terrible on him. He doesn't feel left out. He doesn't feel ostracized. He doesn't feel like at this point he doesn't feel like he's missing anything. His biggest challenge, I think, is like because they're on different school schedules. So when his older brothers are like done for the day or they're on lunch and he's not, he's like, I need a brain break. So, and it's like I don't hold him to really high expectations because he's 5. And he does know like, okay, these are your assignments, these are when they're done, they're due. He knows what day he has to do them. If there's a day he's just not able to focus, he's not into it, I don't force him. I don't. Like if you need a day where you just want to be off, fine, but you know that your whole day Friday or up until 12 o'clock on Saturday, you're going to be at this computer. And I told him just yesterday, I said, listen, you're not going to take every weekend I got. Okay. So I'm going to need you to figure it out. But he definitely gets it. It wasn't even so much of socializing that I was concerned with about him not going to school. It was more so the integration into the public school system or the elementary school system, because I wanted him to know, like, that's where when you enter kindergarten, that's where you learn order, you learn organization, you learn, how to walk in the hallway, how to wait your turn when you're talking. When he was in pre-K, I'm pretty sure they didn't have the same rules. So he definitely, works with his brothers and his cousin and they get it done. I wanted him to feel like a child, just like Mike was saying about his son. My son was ecstatic to get to kindergarten. And he always tells me, like, when COVID's over, am I going to go to school? Like, he was ecstatic. So, like, oh my gosh, he blames coronavirus for everything. Everything. Damn, corona. If we order pizza and the pizza man's like, it's because of coronavirus, right? Mm-hmm. And like he blames coronavirus for everything. So, he wants to feel like a child. And that was more so my concern. It's just giving him, I know I was excited for kindergarten and I was excited for big boy school. And then his brother, one of his brothers goes to that school. So they were just, it was just a lot he was looking forward to, but he definitely gets the socializing from being, we have a full house. So there's no way that he can possibly avoid socializing no matter what we do.
Right.
That's so cool.
So I want to switch gears just slightly, right? So we realize that obviously, this is parenting during a pandemic, but 2020 has been a shit show to say the least. We know that we obviously had the death of George Floyd, which, really, really, really reignited is what I'll say, the Black Lives Matter movement. Obviously, there were issues with Breonna Taylor. And, yes, there was a $12 million settlement that was reached, but that does not bring back the life of Breonna Taylor, nor has any of the officers been arrested or whatever the case is. So there's just been so much. And those are just two to name out of many. So what the question I have to the panel is, as a parent with Black and brown children, how has the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement fueled you and your parenting efforts? Do you find yourself more politically and socially engaged and motivated, or do you find yourself more afraid and concerned for their safety? And we'll just go ahead real quick and put this question in the comments so that you guys can receive it again. All right. And then what y'all can do is, if y'all want, if someone wants to jump in, or we can call on someone, whoever feels the most comfortable to respond. So again, as a parent with Black and brown children, how has the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement fueled you in your parenting efforts? Do you find yourself more politically and socially kind of motivated and engaged, or do you find yourself more afraid and concerned for their safety, or both? Let's throw that question to Mike.
Am I good? Y'all hear me good?
Yeah, you're good. You're fine. We hear you fine. That Wi-Fi looking good, brother.
So it's kind of strange in my house as far as the George Floyd thing and the Black Lives Matter movement. So my kids, because we kind of shadow them. I mean, we kind of cover them from all the bad stuff. You know, we protect them from certain things they don't need to see. So
the exposure to it, yeah.
So they're not understanding some of the heat that we feel when we respond to them about it. So when we talk about George Floyd, we showed them, let them watch it, explain to them how wrong it was. I broke it down to how many police officers it was. My son, he's kind of like, well, you can't say the police is wrong, you know. And at the same time, I get fueled, so my temper goes off, but I calm it down. Like, look, what you mean? And I explain to him. I tell him I bring him back to Rodney King. I bring him back to Trayvon, everything, and I just tell him over and over. And then I break it down to the fact that I be like, what if your sister was? I bring it to family terms, and then he be like, you know, then he gets a little emotional. But you know, this generation, like if you tell him, I tell him that, like if a cop told me when I was growing up, a cop told me, you know, hey, get off the street, get in the sidewalk. I used to try to avoid the police as much as possible. So I would get off the street and get on the sidewalk and walk away. A lot of kids these days, you know, they got a little extra talking. And my son, he's the same thing. He's like, well, I ain't do nothing wrong. So, you know, it's kind of hard bringing it down to them, but I still got to make sure, you know, I plug it in their head. I'm like, ask your Auntie Nessa then. You don't want to hear from me? Ask Auntie Nessa. So, you know, it's difficult. One, they think I'm racist sometimes.
Yes, they do.
I give it to every race. Doesn't matter. Don't discriminate. So it's very difficult, but you know, they need to know.
Sorry, who got the little dog?
It's not me.
You know, no animals here.
I know.
All right, Louis, chill out, please.
I got it. You good?
I tried, Simone.
Not whose puppy needs a walk. Yo, get me out.
That was funny, Joel Garland. That was hilarious.
Oh no.
So anybody else want to take that question? Again, you know, again, during with everything that's going on right now, how do you feel? Do you feel more fueled or do you feel more afraid? Go ahead, Garcia.
I definitely feel a little bit of both. I feel like as a Black woman for the past 31 years, this is something that I have to wake up to every single day. And it's so much deeper than George Floyd, as you guys know. So I'm always thinking about that. For Pharaoh, he's so young, but like you said, Mike, like I'm always trying to like fight with myself to shield him and to protect him from the ills of the world. But then I have to step back and realize that I can't really protect him. I can only prepare him for what's to come. I feel like if I do that, I'm limiting him in his ability to be the best human being in the world that he can be. So with that, I'm like not bringing him around white people as much. I'm just being honest. Because I have that internalized fear that I'm being judged, and I never want to put that on him. You know what I mean? So I'm along with trying to raise him in a way that he knows that his Black is beautiful. I have some learning to do about myself and my internalized racism, because it's like I said, it's deep. It's deep. So it's a work in progress. Those deep conversations, like some of you have older children, like those conversations are going to be deep. And like you said, Katrina, we need to be honest about it all.
Definitely.
Okay. Anybody else want? We appreciate that, Garcia. Anybody else want to take this question?
Yeah, I could take a stab at it, and I'm actually with the Garcias in terms of both. I think, Jermaine, me and you have spoke about this before, and I know I've said it to some others before, but literally my biggest fear, even before coming a parent, was having a Black male child. And every single time that I was pregnant, which as y'all heard, it was a few times, you know, that I was pregnant and I found out I was having a boy, like, no bullshit, I cried. And it's not because I wasn't happy, but it was because I was scared. And I was just like, damn, like, I don't know how to protect my child. Because granted, you can raise them right. And, you know, I'm doing everything right to my knowledge. But once they leave my house, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? Society has its own plans, its own agenda, its own narrative. So with my children, with them being different ages, I can't have the same conversations with each of them. They have to be rather age specific, because what I also don't want to do is instill a spirit of fear in them unnecessarily. So I want them to be woke, you know what I mean? And I want them to be aware, but I don't want them to be scared. Like, I have one of my middle son, he's a huge empath. And it's to the point to where if he sees a riot or somebody that's killed on TV, it bothers him for days. And Jermaine, you know this. Like, it bothers him for days. I mean, he cries. He can't sleep. Like, so it's certain things, like I can't have the same conversation with him that I'll have with my 15-year-old, who's a little bit more aware. He's out there. He has, you know, he has social media and all these other influences to help form his opinion. So I think the two things, Jermaine, was if it made you more, what were the two?
More socially engaged, more, you know, socially inclined and fueled by that, or more afraid?
Okay, so yeah, so it's definitely both for me, because like I said, with the age gaps in my children, I have to handle things pretty much 4 or 5 different ways. I can't, it's just not a blanket statement or a blanket conversation. I literally can't just talk about it at dinner, because there's 4 faces looking back at me. And what I say to the oldest, I shouldn't be saying to the youngest. And what I say to the middle, even though he can handle it, I pretty much have to, you know, gauge what I say to him, because I don't want it weighing on him so heavily. So it is definitely both. And it, like I said, it's a very thin line for me as a parent between being transparent with them and then not helping them, you know, not instilling that spirit of fear in them.
Got you. And real quick, Ness, I'm gonna read this one question, and then you go ahead and have the next one. And
Joel Garland's. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. If you want to do it, go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. So Joel Garland has a dope question. He's been very interactive tonight. So thank you, Joel Garland, whoever you are and wherever you are. Do you feel like normalizing our children to evade police because of our history is helping or hurting? So once again, do you feel like normalizing our children to evade police because of our history is helping or evading? So Michael made a good point
or hurting.
You know, this generation and how they're just, you know, they're more free than ever, and we've built that for them, and that's perfectly how they are supposed to be. But like, do you feel like it's helping, or you feel like it's hurting more so?
I don't feel like we need to teach them to evade police, to be honest. And again, it goes back to, you know, no matter what you do as a parent, and Precious and Paola, y'all have a baby, but you'll see as years go on, it doesn't get easier. It gets scarier, because it's no matter what you do. And I'm pretty sure Pharaoh is an angel on earth, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter what y'all think. It don't matter what we think. You know what I mean? The sad truth is that once he leaves your house, you know, every day he leaves to go to school, you're going to be scared out your ass. I'm just letting you know. I've been through it 4 times already. You know what I mean? And now that my niece is here, my next fear is trafficking. I've never had to worry about that before. You know what I mean? Like, y'all think I'm kidding when I say I spend every day literally going through it, because it's so many lives to protect. Like, yes, I want to protect everybody, but, you know, I don't want to lock her in the house. But at the same time, it's like, it's sad that we have to think about these things. So I don't want my boys to evade police. I'm going to teach them, you know, just like when I had a conversation with my 15-year-old recently, and we talked about police brutality and things like that. And he was just like, all cops aren't bad. I chill with Snellville police all the time. And I was like, what do you mean you chill with them? Where do you see them at? He's like, Ma, relax. He was like, when I ride my bike, when they're out in the streets, they talk to me. I was like, what do they say? And he was like, calm down. He was like, who hurt you? And I was like, listen. So it's like, Jermaine, get your nephew. But, you know, it's like, I don't want to teach them to evade them. These are, you know, I want you to be respectful. I want you to, you know, unfortunately, it's one of those, don't reach into this, don't do that. You know, my stepson is in college, and I have to tell him, like, do your tints have to be so dark? Can you try not to speed down the street? You know, it's a lot of rules that go into place, or a lot of molding we need to do, but I don't think that needs to evade police, because to me, that all goes back to helping them to have a spirit of fear. And I'm not really, that's not my thing. Because I feel like if you're instilling a spirit of fear in them, then you're taking away their childhood in a sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. Jermaine, you was there. Ness, you was down the block. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And I wasn't scared. I wasn't. And I had lived a great little life in the ghetto.
you know what that is too? Not to cut you off, I feel like part of that reason too, part of that not being scared is because you knew all the thugs, like, you know, you knew all the hood.
And I always tell people that, I'm like, yeah, I knew the gangbangers and the drug dealers, but they weren't out to shoot me.
They weren't trying to get you.
You know, but nowadays, you know, you don't know. It's a very, you know, being black is a real, I don't want to call it, I don't even know what to call it, but it's a real concern.
Yeah,
it's a real concern. Yes, like Paula said, it's a job. And it's something that, you know, we have to, unfortunately, my kids, as the older that they get, like, I'm not as scared now because my oldest is still in the house. In a few years, he'll be going off to college, and we're going to have a, are you ready for society interview? Point blank, period. Like, are you ready for this? If a cop approaches you, or if this happens, or if that happens, or how do you react? And my 15-year-old is he's like Jermaine minus however many years. He's very political. He speaks his mind. You cannot shut him up. Like, he's not gonna let
my nephew. Right.
Like, he literally got in trouble for that because he was like, "Why does your history book say this?" And I was just like, "Junior."
That's good though.
He does need to be molded for when he gets out there, but not to the point. He's told me plenty of times, like, "Mommy, society's not gonna make me change who I am," and I'm not expecting it to. But I also want you to live carefully. And yeah, it's unfortunate because not every skin tone has to. But this is what it is for us. And we just got to roll with it, unfortunately.
Great. Thank you all for y'all.
I like my finger. Mike got a little finger.
Mike got a little ting ting.
So as far as the evading, I would say when I was growing up, I mean, I was pretty bad. I was pretty bad.
And that's like bad. I was there.
So, you know, I avoided, not if I needed help, yeah, I'll go to them. But I avoided, like, if a situation, something happened over here with a certain situation, I didn't open myself to the police. Like, I didn't, nowadays, which is good, people record and all that stuff. But I feel people introduce themselves to the police and then they become, I ain't gonna say part of the problem because they're trying to solve the problem, but they become a target because they guilty by association, this kind of thing. So, like, I tell my son that if something's going on, you're not involved in it, don't, and there's law enforcement involved, don't welcome yourself to it. Don't introduce yourself to it. Like, if the police tell you go away, except for the George Floyd, I might have told him to stick around and record that. But
right.
If the police tell you clear the scene, clear the scene. That's how I tell him, clear the scene, because he's the first one to say, but I ain't doing that. I could stay there if I want to. You know, so, and I don't want to deal with that. So I try to tell him, look, if something happens and you're not involved and the person might have been wrong in the first place, leave it alone. So, like I said, I'm not telling him to evade the police, like be scared of the law, because there are good cops. They have a couple of cops. I used to work in corrections, and you know, I know law enforcement. So I told them there's police that help, but just like in every profession, there's dirty cops, there's dirty bankers, there's dirty businessmen, dirty lawyers. So no, I don't encourage like evading, like keep the kids and make them feel like the police should be fearful. But I just tell him to mind your own, mind your own. So I just want to clear that up a little bit.
Got you. I hear you, Mike. So I appreciate all your answers. Y'all pretty much answered most of the panel questions. I just have one question for the parents with the younger children, right? So for those with younger children, do you plan to have an open and honest conversation with them about racism? If so, what do you think that would look like? Like, if you could imagine it with your younger children, what do you think it would look like?
I guess I'll go. I think that's a hard question, just in terms of what it would look like. I mean, when all this, George Floyd and everything started happening, I definitely had my moments where I would break down and cry. And my daughter's like, "Mommy, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" And it's like, I kind of had that split second decision. Like, Do I in some way try to explain to her, there are people that will hate you just because of how you look, or, do I even step into that a little bit at 5? Or how do I tell her kind of where this emotion is coming from? I definitely do plan on having that conversation with her. Right now, my biggest thing is just instilling in her the positive things. You're beautiful, your skin is beautiful, your hair is beautiful, you're intelligent, you can do anything you want to do, no one can bring you down, that type of thing. Just so when that negativity does come, she doesn't internalize those things. So that's what I'm doing right now, but definitely that bigger, more serious conversation will definitely come at some point.
Got it. Thank you for answering.
No problem.
I would like to agree with Katrina. Definitely like instilling a lot of like positive affirmations of what it is, like the beauty of being a Black child, a Black little boy, or having Black parents or Black people around you. Just the richness of what Black is right now for him. But definitely, it's gonna be something that he's gonna learn early on. Because I feel like we have books already like talking about it and stuff like that. And not only that, I feel like I'm an Afro Latina, so we also have like it from like the Latino side. That's like a whole different like discussion, but it's definitely gonna come early because even from like my side of the family, there's like sometimes just like ignorant things that just are said, and I'm like, bruh. So we're not scared to talk about it or shy away from it. And not only like talking about the discrimination, but also talking about like the strengths of our ancestors and like putting that at the forefront, because I think that we often forget to celebrate the strength of all the things that our ancestors had to endure for us to be here today, right? And I think that drives us to be better, and also letting them know of what things we can do to change things. Because I think that like you were talking about like elections and stuff like that, but like we become very political around elections, but then we forget that there's city council meetings and like things where we can be more active in our local community and make a bigger change in our local, and then that like feeds out to the rest of the country. But a little bit of everything for him. It's definitely something we're not going to shy away from.
Yeah, I'm with everyone else. I'm definitely going to have that conversation with my 5-year-old. I'm not sure when. I am kind of building up to it because like I can't even convince him that Santa Claus isn't real. Again, I'm a big advocate for letting them enjoy their childhood. So I don't know how exactly to paint the picture for him yet. The rest of my children, they're very well aware of it. But I mean, we do the same things like what Katrina said. Like I've been focusing on just building up their esteem and building up their awareness and their confidence. Every time we're in the car with all of my boys, they have to say 3 I am statements and 3 you are statements. And I mean, they love this. I don't care what it is. Cortland's is usually I am a special, I am a genius, I am handsome. I don't care if he says that every day. But then he also has to turn around and tell each of his brothers a you are statement. So we do that just to keep the affirmations going, to keep the confidence going, because I always tell them like, one day society is going to try its best to tear you down. So if they can start with that foundation and start building each other up and always have each other's back, they'll have a strong enough foundation to get through things better.
Got it. I appreciate y'all answers. Y'all teaching me a lot. So, Mike, when you bring forth another future, niece or nephew from me, what
Mike,
is that?
Mike didn't hear that part. That wasn't the prep. He's like, what?
He's like, that wasn't part of this.
But going back to that, the racist stuff. So I agree with all of y'all as far as like definitely instilling how Black excellence is in each of our children. My daughter, she is like super Black Barbie ballerina, and like she just, I glorify her every day. I tell her that she doesn't need no fans. Daddy's the biggest fan. I tell her, this outside hate. I said, you just worry about that. I'll suck up all the hate. She was down here in North Carolina. She was the first Black Clara to do the Nutcracker. The first little Black.
I hear that.
And she's
North Carolina.
She's so humble. She doesn't care. But I let her know the importance of it. I tell her, and she, Dad, that's racist. That's what she said. I was like, no. My kids think I'm racist, but
just a heads up, black by definition, Black and brown people cannot be racist because it's the belief that one race is superior over the other. We can only be prejudiced. We cannot be racist because we are the minority group. Just want to throw that out there.
Come through communication, major.
That's my co-exec producer.
Just want to throw that out there.
And like as for my son, me and his auntie Nessa, we blow his head up enough, so he is very confident with himself. And as far as the racist conversations, I kind of do a little, I want to say, reverse psychology to them. Like I put all the stereotypes out there every day, almost like every day. I put all the stuff that they might hear. It's kind of like how you got the Black Lives Matter, you got the white people joining in the Black Lives Matter, like they're tired of seeing it, so now they're joining the fight. I kind of throw the stereotypes out there to where they're disgusted of the stereotypes, so they don't feed into the racism. They hear me say so much different stuff. They're like, Dad, that's wrong. You shouldn't say that. So I kind of say I do like the little reverse technique of it. I might be wrong, but look, I know some parents out there might be like, "Oh my gosh," but it works for them. They tired of they hear it from all angles. They hear it from me, so they kind of tired of it, so they going against it. So it works.
So you just out there saying racist shit just so they can tell you that you're racist. So you be like, yes, my baby. All this empathy you have, you're gonna change the world. That's outrageous. Okay. So George Watkins.
Yeah, so we have some comments that's not coming through, so I'm trying to type out people's things.
You're doing great. And I mean, not like in your way, you're doing great. I mean, in the real.
In the real, doing great. Yeah. You know, my sarcasm, I'd be like, you're doing great. That means you're doing terrible. But anyway.
George Watkins says, all the parents are great, but Ricky is a super mom. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh,
gosh.
Yeah, I know I can do that, did y'all?
I did not.
I can roll my R's, you feel me? I was nice in Spanish, by the way. The Garcias, I was nice with it.
Oh, but you didn't. Never mind. I'm not gonna blow you. Go ahead. You were nice.
So Jermaine used to cheat off of me in class, and then somehow he got higher than me on the Regents. But I'm not saying nothing.
Just because I asked you what the heck is a bajo once, now I cheat with you. Get out. I'm done.
Hey, I think he's all cheating there, but you used to cheat a lot. So
now this. So we have one more comment real quick before we close out, and this is from Janice Wright, and Janice Wright says. Not the head on the. Oh Lord, Janice Wright says, "Are any of you afraid of?"
Do that, right?
She can. Janice Wright says, "Are any of you afraid of social isolation?" And think about this. Let's expand it on a bit and think about like your kids too. One no. Do we have two?
We got two no's. I seen the two.
No's, three no's.
Three no's.
All right.
She's up at it. No.
They said keep our babies in the house.
Family over everything.
That's right.
How can you be socially isolated when you're around family?
I hear that. Exactly.
And love, right? I love it. I love y'all answers. I'm so happy y'all came out here to talk with us and to talk with our Gourmet Foreplay viewers.
Facts.
Oh, since Janice Wright is watching, let me just say that the only thing that did scare my children about social isolation, they missed their grandmother. So I know she's in there smiling over there somewhere, but they was going to give her coronavirus. Like they were legit like, we can't see Nana, we're going to get her sick. I'm like, y'all will be fine. So that was their only fear, that they couldn't see their Nana.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
All right, so we want to say thank you to our panelists. Can we just get a round of applause, digital round of applause? Y'all did great. Y'all did excellent. We truly appreciate y'all. Shout outs to my cups because y'all make me look like the alcoholic of the group, but that's fine. We told y'all the prerequisite. We told y'all to pull up, but you didn't. Hold up. They be like, we told y'all to pull up and you didn't. Nah, but we want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate your time, energy, and attention. To the Garcias, thank you so much. To Ricky, we appreciate you. And to Katrina Beeman, thank you so much for all your contributions. We're sure that our viewers really enjoyed. We're sure.
Hello, Garland.
You call me Janice. But now we appreciate y'all's feedback, and we understand that this is not normal, right? Like Nessa and I do this all the time, and it's not normal to get up in front of a live audience to answer questions, to answer and navigate through the questions of people who are watching, and really like do our best to be ourselves and like just remain calm and still be conscious of the fact that parenting is different, right? So we just want to say thank you for that. And before I close this out, I want to let everybody know, I want to encourage you to always be bright, be bold, and be you. But my co-executive producer just closes us out so goddamn well every goddamn time. So Nash, you got anything you want to say to the people?
You know, with everything going on in the world, people, I just want to
make it slow because we want to hear this, baby. We want to hear
give love, spread love, but I want you to receive love. Right?
And then what?
Once you receive love, I want you to repeat that bitch and make it a full.
Can you say one more time with people in the back?
I want you to give love.
Give love.
Give love.
I want you to spread love.
Ooh, spread love.
Then I want you to receive. Take all that love in and then repeat it. And just repeat that bitch all the way around like a recycling emoji. Circle. We just recycling love and we just giving it out there. Let love be the new pandemic, people. Let it.
And now we done brought us to church, so we just want to say before they talk about Gourmet Foreplay Sunday service, we want to say thank y'all so much. We appreciate
somebody say neighbor. I love you.
I love you. Hug somebody, kiss somebody. Yo, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. To everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your friends, share this with your loved ones, share this so we can continue to share that love and spread that love. And yeah, we appreciate y'all. Until next Tuesday, we will see y'all.
Peace out.
Later, y'all.